Now, one will protect them.
We have to hang on, work together.
And one will lead them.
There's nothing magical about it.
So, Reign of Fire from 2002. This one was suggested to us by one of our listeners, Eva. So we did this one as a listener suggestion on the podcast. And she thinks that this film might be a bit underrated. So it's an action-adventure dystopic kind of film that explores what would happen if dragons took over the world and killed basically everybody on the face of the earth.
So looking at the scores then, with Eva saying it is underrated. Over on IMDb at the time of recording, it gets 6.2 out of 10. The audience on Rotten Tomatoes give it 49%, and the critics on Rotten Tomatoes give it a 42%. So those are the scores then. Had you seen this one before?
I hadn't seen it before, but I had heard of it. And for some reason, I had an idea that it was going to be really naff. So my expectations of this film going in were really low. But I was actually really pleasantly surprised. And I found so much more to like about this than I thought I would. So I think the main thing that really surprised me was just how realistic, how gritty, and how grim the whole thing was. Usually when you're dealing with dragons, that evokes feelings of magic, of fantasy, of wonder, and that sort of thing. But this film is just absolutely desperate. Everything is terrible. It's all really grey and ashen and arid and dry. You've got some real heavy hitters in there with Christian Bale, Matthew McConaughey, and Gerard Butler. Christian Bale is our central character, and he has a great relationship with Gerard Butler's character, and you really believe that they've got a strong history together. And then Matthew McConaughey comes in, and the contrasting ideas that they have about how to deal with the issue of the dragons are really interesting, and it's such a great exploration into the two different ways that these two leaders try to take on the problems that face them.
Overall, I liked it. I thought it was, generally speaking, great concept. Weirdly nice or cool, whatever you want to call it, to see a post-apocalyptic sort of dystopian film, but it's set in Britain rather than seeing, the same old American landmarks. I was quite surprised how good the CGI was, really. Considering it's 20 years or more than 20 years old, it looks better than you think it's going to look.
We're ready to rock and roll!
I didn't have any major issues with this film. There was just a couple of little things. For instance, some of the British actors or English actors in there are doing terrible English accents, and I don't really understand how that came to be or what went wrong there. One of the other things as well is that Christian Bale and Matthew McConaughey are absolutely jacked. Like, these people are meant to be starving, and a part of the narrative is that they're struggling to get food together and that their crops are failing. So I don't really understand how on earth they've managed to uphold such incredible muscle mass.
For me, I would say it is underrated. It's definitely worth a watch if you're into that, if you're into this sort of post-apocalyptic action thriller type of vibe. What about you?
I would certainly say that it's underrated. The scores didn't surprise me because I was going into it thinking that it was going to be bad or naff or whatever it was, but it really wasn't. And it had so much more to offer than I thought it would. So yeah, certainly an underrated one for me.